Hey guys! Hello! Whoa, something's different. What could it be? I'm not wearing a Star Wars shirt. But look what I am wearing. Dun 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 dun. And doo 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 doo. And hang on, let me think. Howard Shore is a big departure from John Williams. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the Lord of the Rings music. I know this inside and out. Hang on. I'm trying to think of like the Shire theme. I can't. But anyway, I can't think of it at this moment, but there's a Michelangelo ring. So what do all these things have in common? Obviously, huge movie franchises, right? Huge movie followings and huge fan communities. And what is the difference between these types of things and Star Wars? Well, that's kind of what I want to touch on today. As you guys have noticed, there is a lot of polarity going on right now with Star Wars. I mean, like major news syndicates are covering stuff that's going on because of Star Wars and Star Wars fans, like in direct correlation to that. Now, I'm sure in the past, I know for a fact, I didn't grow up through it, so I only know through understanding what other people experience, but I know that there have always been, disappointments among fan bases and outcries from the public about certain things. But I feel like we're in a time now that is so polarizing in terms of the fan base, specifically with Star Wars, that it is just just wrought with just name calling and finger pointing and negativity and grouping all types of people into two different categories, and there are so many more than those two categories, and yet people seem to think that with their understanding of the world and the human race, they can just lump people into two different types of personalities. And it's a very damaging thing, and it's a very saddening thing, for me at least personally. And it feels like people are at war with each other, and it's Star Wars. I mean, that sounds kind of funny, because it's like, well, that's Star Wars. But it's really upsetting. Especially for someone like me who I grew up with Star Wars, and it is by far the closest thing that I have to like a religion or a life philosophy or any level of spirituality, because I find that it resonates with me on such a deep level. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about the original trilogy. If you guys don't know me already, you know that that's my favorite. As I go and as I experience more, and as I talk with more people, I'm starting to have more respect and more admiration for other parts of Star Wars, even the prequels, which I made known previously that I really did not like. But I'm starting to really see things from other people's perspectives and learning to like really respect and appreciate other people's perspectives. So while this whole craziness is going on with Star Wars and the Star Wars community, and people are so divided, I feel like I'm starting to empathize with different types of people, and especially on this side. Listen, I think both sides, it's like, it really is like, it's political, dude. It's like, because people are so polarized on their opinions, and it's becoming like this ideological debate. And it's not just semantics anymore. People are getting like really like deep into this stuff, like very personal and serious accusations. And I just want to kind of, I don't know, I want this video kind of to be to remind people, like, that's not what these things are for. That's not what these things are about. Art is a reflection of society in so many ways, but at the same time, society's reaction to that art is a reflection of what's going on and the undercurrents and the underpinnings of the climate socially. So it's really interesting to see how much people are getting heated over this kind of stuff. I'm a pop culture nerd. Like, in not pop culture in terms of like the Kardashians and like makeup and stuff like that. Like, I'm definitely like, I'm like a Jaws girl and a Jurassic Park girl, and I love Alien. I love the Alien franchise. But I can understand where, for me personally, my favorite Alien film is the original Alien. Now, I know a lot of people disagree and think that Aliens is the better film, but I personally like the deep, dark horror aspects of the original Alien, and it feels very almost like Kubrick-esque to me as compared to the second one, Aliens, which feels much more action, adventure, much more like Terminator-esque, or even like Jurassic Park. But then again, like the original Jurassic Park, it's the same issue for me. It's like it's talking about these deep underlying human qualities, but they're being juxtaposed with this invading force that can wipe us out very easily. And I think those types of movies, as much as they scare people, Jaws even, it's making people face themselves and face their own belief systems and face their own ideas of the world and ideas of how the world works and what people should be doing. A perfect example is Jaws is the mayor of Amity Island wants to keep the beaches open because he knows that that's the biggest draw, and he doesn't want to have a dead season, and he doesn't even want to believe that there's a shark there. And you don't have that in Jaws 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or however many Jaws the last one exploded into. And you have the same kind of elements in the original Alien, you have the same kind of elements in the original Terminator, and even T2 in my opinion. But a lot of the best films out there, if you really look, and I think people always say, oh, it's so hard to make a sequel, it's so hard to make a follow-up, it's so hard to come out with something that's equally original and equally as thought-provoking and culturally influential. But at the same time, it's like, well, yeah, to an extent, but if you have the right people behind it, and if you have the right thought process and the right motivations behind it, like, you can come up with brilliant work. I mean, look at the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Look at what Peter Jackson did with that. And all 3 of those films were excellent. The third one won an Oscar. That was, as far as I know, I think that was the first fantasy film to ever win an Oscar. So, I don't know, just saying, I think that's pretty cool. But then you have The Hobbit. And that's the interesting thing, is that people don't hate on people for not liking The Hobbit. It's pretty universally understood that the Hobbit series is not a good collection of films. I'm sure there are people that like it and enjoy it, but you don't see them getting mad at the people that didn't like it and enjoy it. Same with the Jaws sequels, same even with Jurassic Park. I think people are kind of back and forth, but you don't see this anger and this hatred and this projection and this lumping people into this category of saying that they're racist and sexist and bigoted and assuming people's political motivations and political beliefs and social beliefs and IQ. I mean, it's crazy. So yeah, it's really interesting because I grew up loving these kinds of movies, and I grew up always feeling a little bit different because I love these movies, not because I didn't have people that also loved them, but just because most of those people were boys and I was a girl, and I always felt like I was supposed to fit in with the girls because I was a girl and I was like a cute girl, but I always felt more like a boy, and like I identified more with the boys. I didn't feel like, don't read into that. I'm not a boy. But I didn't, like, the girls were always playing, like, the kind of boring games in the playground. Like, they were playing, like, let's pretend that you're gonna marry Johnny, and I'm gonna marry Brad, and this is my ring, and we're gonna live in this big house and have kids. And I was like, I wanna play Jurassic Park. I'm a velociraptor. Y'all run from me right now. So I grew up feeling kind of, like, different, also being a little bit of a loner, and keeping to myself, and always being very sensitive, and kind of like, if I didn't enjoy interacting with people, I would kind of rather just be myself. So it was a very I guess a kind of unique experience as a kid. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate, because you guys all apparently love Star Wars just as much as I do, which is awesome. But yeah, I feel like as an only child, as a lonely child, those types of films really spoke to me, because they really, on a deeper level, it wasn't just entertainment to me. And that's why I think I get so, like, heated. I don't think I want to use the word heated, because it's just almost too small a term. But I get so really deeply, like, emotionally invested and involved in films and certain franchises and stuff, is because they struck a chord with me on a very deep level, always, as a kid and now as an adult. And they're literally, it's not just an escape, but it's totally an escape, like, from my own ways of thinking, but it's also like a processing mechanism. Like, I love watching good movies and enjoying good characters and learning the backstories. I've always been like a person that loves looking into extended universe stuff, and I was never a huge comic book person. I have some comic books for some extended universe things, but like, I always preferred, that's why I love YouTube, is because I'll watch other people's channels where they talk about expanded universe things and break it down and show the pictures, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I love learning about, I mean, you guys know how many Star Wars books I have, about, like, encyclopedia-esque books, not really extended universe books, but like, I love learning about backstories. And like, I read Jaws growing up, I read Jurassic Park and The Lost World, and I read all the Star Wars books, and I love learning about like Alien extended universe and Predator extended universe, because you can really escape into it, and there's also just so much like meat and like cool quality stuff there. But when a lot of the times you work with these original movies, that's where you get the human element. And sometimes I feel like the further away you get from the original, it starts to kind of lose the human element. And I think that's kind of what's happening with Star Wars right now, is that it started off being so much of a look into like who we are, and like existential like anxiety with like someone like Luke Skywalker, who's a farm boy on a lonely desert planet, like, and who finally found meaning something. He was desperate just to go to the academy, which happened to be an imperial academy. So like, he didn't even have a side yet. Like, he would have gone and become, he probably would have been the best fighter for the imperial army, but somehow he found his way. And like, and I just think that's so cool, because that's all of us. Like, all of us are born into something, into some set of circumstances that kind of keep us latched into one way of thinking or one way of life. And regardless of what you want to say about being a free thinker and stuff, we're all programmed. We're all programmed by our parents and by our peers and by our siblings and by our school system and by the media. We are all programmed to think a very specific way about ourselves and our lot in life and who we are, what we're supposed to do. So seeing movies like Star Wars and seeing the humanity that you see in the original trilogy, and the inner struggle of Luke Skywalker, and even Han Solo and Leia and all of the characters, even Lando, like, his motivations were one thing in the beginning, it became something completely different, where he had redeemed himself because he realized what the right thing to do was. And you don't have that in The Last Jedi. And I just recorded another video earlier today where I was talking about how I want to be more open-minded about people that are fans of all things Star Wars, because if I want to respect anybody, it can't just be people that I agree with. It has to also be people that love Star Wars. If people love Star Wars, that's amazing, and I want to support that no matter what, because it's Star Wars and it's beautiful. Do I like The Last Jedi? No, not at all. But I think what's more important than hating on The Last Jedi and talking about how much we hate it and why we hate it, I think the more important thing we should be talking about is what made Star Wars important and beautiful to us in the first place, and what we connected to, and how maybe that idea was lost along the way, and they're trying to recreate it, but they're kind of speaking a different language than the original language, and they're trying to do it in ways and convey the messages in ways that are just falling flat, or just feeling like that's what they're trying to do. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When you make a Star Wars film, you do or you do not. There is no try. And it feels like they're trying to make a Star Wars film with The Last Jedi. And I know a lot of people hated The Force Awakens too, but I felt like at least this is what can be said about someone like J.J. Abrams. Like, he is a fanboy. Like, he loves, like, I mean, you can tell from something like Super 8, he grew up with Spielberg movies, he grew up with Star Wars. You can tell when you watch Lost, like, he threw references in there all the time. I mean, who is the blonde guy, character, Sawyer? I mean, that was Han Solo, but just like the blonde version. Come on, I mean, you all know that was Han Solo, right? Like, come on. He had so many references in there. You can just tell he really loved and cared about Star Wars, Star Trek stuff. And, like, say what you want about the Star Trek movies that he made, but, like, he made them very palatable to an audience that had never seen Star Trek before. Like, I, growing up, was never a huge Trekkie person. I was always interested in it, and I saw the movies as they came out, and I always enjoyed them. But when I saw the Star Trek movies that Abrams made, I was like, oh wow, like this is a very digestible thing for people, and I think that's what made them so popular, as opposed to other parts of the Star Trek universe, was that it didn't seem so rigid and kind of cloistered off to a specific niche audience. That being said, I just feel like he, honestly, like, people, you can say as many times as you want that he just copied and pasted A New Hope, but at least there was soul in it, from my opinion. That's my opinion. But I felt like it did have a heart and a soul to it. It felt, I felt like I was home, honestly. Looking back, I mean, I've only seen okay, so I saw The Force Awakens when it came out in theaters, opening night. I think I've seen it one more time since then. I'm wondering now, if I watch it again, if I'll feel the same way, after seeing all the things that you guys have said and things that other people are talking about. I might not like it as much, but so that's another thing. It's like, I'm learning as I go. My mind is opening. I'm understanding where other people are coming from, and that's really cool. But as I move forward, I feel like we need to start, like, I'm following so many channels that I love, but they're just bashing the other side, and I get it. Like, I get the frustration, but I don't want to do that personally, just because I feel like I don't want that to leak into who I am. I want to be a positive person. Like, y'all know I work with little kids. I just love being happy. I struggle with being happy sometimes, because I feel like the world can be a very dark and sad and scary place, but at the end of the day, I feel like there is a unity underneath it all, and it's the people that don't see that I think are the most frightened and scared and insecure and angry. Not saying and that's not even talking about any of the channels. Like, I totally get the bashing. I get it. I get the hatred. I get it. I understand it. And I've been falling victim to it a lot, because I've been saying things and leaving comments that are very, like, elitist, and even on, like, I remember, what was it? It might have been the channel Hybrid Theory, which talks a lot about Alien, the Alien franchise. I used to watch them all the time because I love learning about the extended Alien universe and stuff. And I think I left a comment there once because they had said something about Star Wars or something, and I just left this comment where I was kind of like ranting, honestly. I don't remember what I said. I don't remember the context or what it was about. But I'm thinking back to that, and I'm like, why? Like, what good is that doing? Even if 800 people agree with me and upvote my comment, like, what am I really obtaining or doing? Am I changing people's minds, or am I just reinforcing other people who believe the same thing I do? And at the end of the day, like, that's not growing for me. That's not growing for you guys. So I want to be able to have these open-ended discussions. I want to keep talking about this stuff. This is just so cool because I never thought, like a month and a half ago, that I would be talking on YouTube to other people that love the things that I love, specifically Star Wars, but also other parts of nerd culture, nerd movie culture and stuff. I don't know. It's really cool. And I think it's important for us to talk about what makes these types of movies so important to people and so special to people. Because you don't see, like there are other great movies out there. Like The Shawshank Redemption is a great movie, but you don't see people that are like fanboys for The Shawshank Redemption. I mean, I'm sure there are. But like, it's this, what it is, I think, about like the more nerd quality movies, like the sci-fi and the adventure and the Indiana Jones and all these types of movies, a lot of the Spielberg type movies, even with Marvel and DC and that kind of stuff, Star Trek, obviously. I think you're creating another world, so like it's inherently fiction, but there's something very real in the undertones. But you're creating not only a world, but you're creating a universe that this happens in, because even aside from the fact that it's like a fictional world, it would have to be a completely different universe for a lot of these things to happen in. So like, for example, with like Raiders of the Lost Ark, you have a lot of paranormal things going on. So yes, it's very possible that there is an adventurous archaeologist named Dr. Indiana Jones who is on this quest to find this, and then like, but then he just so happens to find a paranormally infected Ark of the Covenant. Like, that kind of stuff, it would need to be a different universe. And there is a whole universe around Indiana Jones and so many things that like people can read about in comics and stories and books and fan art and fan fiction. And, you know, it's really, really, really beautiful and cool what the human mind is capable of, and what the human mind is capable of specifically in the realm of creativity and creating stories and storytelling and universe creation and world creation and character creation. And I just think it's a beautiful thing. And I think right now, with the whole polarity with Star Wars, we're getting distracted from it. And I think we need to remind ourselves of our nerdy roots and just get back to where we started, and be able to have a clear definition between like, I think it's important for people to start understanding, like, okay, like Jaws, I don't want to use Jaws, let's say Alien is inarguably an excellent film. Like, critically, it is an excellent film. It is extraordinarily well done in every way. Mise-en-scene, direction, character development, screenplay, script, blocking of movement, the sets, and the music, and the imagery. It's an excellent, very well-rounded film, right? But then you have Alien 4, or Alien Covenant, or Alien whatever, Prometheus, in which it's very debatable. Some people like it, some people love it, some people hate it, but there are elements that you can critique in there that you can say, not a good film, or not good character development, or not good writing. Same thing with the Terminator franchise. The first two, excellent films, inarguably excellent films, but then you have the rest, and a critic could very easily argue these are not good films. Is it your choice to accept them as good films as a fan? Obviously, yeah, it's your choice. It's our choice. And anyway, I feel like that's enough for today. I'm tired. But yeah, so let's talk about that. Tell me what your favorite nerdy movies are in terms of like that, the world and the universe creation. I want to know what you guys think, and if you can kind of touch on that underlying understanding of, you know, where that polarization is happening between people just saying, like, my opinion is The Last Jedi was not a good film. If it had been a good film, if it had been done well, I don't care who the characters are, I don't care what happens in it, if it's well done, I'm gonna love it. But it wasn't, in my opinion. But like, where is this division happening where now all of a sudden I'm being grouped in with sexists and racists and bigots because I didn't like it? Does that just make null and void the fact that I studied film and the fact that I understand what good film is and good filmmaking is, and I actually, like, I know that, and I want to be a part of that world? Is that, like, are those people telling me who I am? Is that taking away all the meaning? Because we don't want that. So we want to be able to have this discourse, right? But we don't want to be lumped in with all that other stuff. I don't know. I honestly don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. But as always, it's awesome talking to you guys. This has been a pretty different video, so let me know what you guys think. This is my first video where I've kind of branched away from Star Wars, even though I'm still kind of like, you know, I still have my Star Wars training wheels on. Like, I'm still talking about Star Wars. That's gonna be my anchor for a long time, I think, because Star Wars is my, like, I love it. It's just like who I am. So, but yeah, like, I would like to also talk about other nerd culture things. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna just rattle off some of my favorite other films just to give you guys an idea. So obviously Jaws, the original, Jurassic Park, the original, Alien, the original, sensing a theme here, Terminator 1 and 2, I love the original. Blade Runner, the new one was pretty good too. Mad Max, the new one was really good, I liked that too. Oh my gosh, there's so many. I love The Shining, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. I mean, I know that's not necessarily like a nerd culture thing, but I just love The Shining so much. Lord of the Rings, the Lord of the Rings trilogy by Peter Jackson. I love John Carpenter's The Thing. I feel like I just need to make a list and read it because there's some. Oh my God! Obviously, Indiana Jones and the Ark of the Covenant. Although I did enjoy, I thought it was entertaining, The Last Crusade, but I don't think it's as good a film. But I did enjoy it. The second one in between, I did not think was a good film at all. Sorry. That's my opinion, and you're welcome to disagree with me on it. I just didn't think it was well done. I think it was entertaining, but I did not think it was a good film. So those are my two categories. It's like entertaining and fun, and like I would watch it to have a good time, or like a good film. So yeah. So that's it. Okay, guys, thank you for like listening to my long rambling. I hope you like have some cool ideas that you can share with me now in the comment section, and let's talk more about nerdy things and Star Wars. May the Force be with you guys. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.